welcome. Let me disable that so we're not getting double audio. I think. Let me actually check. Let's see. I'm not hearing anything. You should be able to hear it now. Hello, welcome. So, obviously, as the title says, we're going to be doing some Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. One of the things is, I'm trying to get, full gold in, every, cup. Full gold meaning 3 stars, which means getting first in all 4 races. And I have everything that is out so far, completed from 50cc and 100cc. I'm most of the way done with 150cc. Mirror, I have quite a lot to do, and then 200cc is like not even started. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with that. Just gonna mention right off the bat, it's gonna be a low energy sort of stream day. And with that as well, I don't know how long it's gonna be. I feel like it's probably gonna end up being a shorter stream today. I think we're back. Okay. I accidentally unplugged my mic. I was trying to shift it to make it better for my webcam to see. And I accidentally unplugged the actual cord from the mic. So, and we continue. As I was saying, I don't know how far I got. I feel like it's going to be pretty low energy. I don't know how long it's going to be. I feel like it's probably going to be a short stream, just based off of kind of the low energy nature of it. I know the last time I had a low energy stream that I knew was going to be low energy going into it, it was the Splatoon 3 stream, and I feel like I kept that one pretty short. Oh, should probably mention, the last time I did a Mario Kart 8 stream was, preparing for, the tournament. So, I fucking lost. I was generally middle of the pack, for pretty much the whole time. I just got horrible RNG luck. And yeah, so that kind of went nowhere. Don't know what I was expecting with that. I was doing pretty well for most of it, but just RNG kind of absolutely killed me. So yeah. Meanwhile, I am absolutely destroying the CPUs. Oh, that was it. By the way, let me know if any audio needs to be shifted. Oh, hello, Yoshi. It's fine. Actually, I'm pretty sure this was my last race in the tournament qualifiers. I just missed all of those. That was horrible. Bitch. Yep, it's gonna be one of those days. That's kind of the worst part about this sort of thing is mess up once you start completely over. Didn't mean to cut that so close to the corner. Mistimed that. Yeah, that sounds about right. Alright. Well, that's one down. 3 more to go in order to get this cup done. So, one of the things with Mario Kart, and I kind of mentioned that I was kind of middle of the pack in qualifiers. I won't say that I'm bad at the game, but I'm definitely not amazing at the game. Like, this is a bad kind of representation, because CPUs are kind of dumb no matter how you look at them. But generally, one of my biggest things is I know a lot of, I'm aware of a lot of possible shortcuts, but generally I don't know where a lot of them lie. Like, I know I've come across the YouTube channel that kind of talks about different types of shortcuts and stuff like that. Both like shroomless, shroom shortcuts, like whatever. But it's one of the things where like I've never really known where they are, so I can never take them. I mean, some are more obvious than others and whatnot. But generally, like, a lot of my kind of experience with Mario Kart ends up in RNG, because it completely depends on the items you get. But I know there are some people who just instinctively know where all the shortcuts are and stuff like that, so they don't have to worry about that. So it's one of those things where skill level, it's hard to say. I don't know if this cup has any good ones. Mushroom Gorge is next, which Mushroom Gorge is actually one of my favorite tracks in the Mario Kart series, from the Wii, obviously. But it's one of the things, I know there's a shortcut right at the end there. I don't know how to do it. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, there's something there, but like, really, that was a horrible starting boost. But it's one of those things that, like, knowledge is really where a lot of my struggle with competition comes from in Mario Kart terms. Well, that and, like I said, mixed with RNG. Yeah, no. That drops down too much. If I had a boost, I'm pretty sure you can boost across that with the glider, but I'm not. I don't want to risk it right now. Although, I guess that's like that with really any game, is like, you need to know how to do stuff, because I know speedrunning something like, let's just say Breath of the Wild, because I know a bit about the speedrun and stuff like that. I know there's a lot of different tricks, like movement options, that come into play with something like that I don't know how to do. I'm sure I could find out and practice, but like, it's one of those things where it's like going so late into the game trying to learn how to speedrun. It's like, in reality, how much of a chance do you get? Because like, by the time you learn how to do something, someone's already perfected it, essentially. And so, like, the other issue is I like playing games casually. Because it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you play it casually and you get the story and all that sort of stuff. But speedrunners, generally, the first time they play the game, they're looking for any and all skips. Generally, from what I've kind of seen. Obviously, that's not always the case. But it's just one of those things that's kind of difficult to get into competition in video games, I guess, because just, I know it's a lot of practice and stuff like that and just getting better, but by the time you get to the point where someone else is, they've already moved past that. So it's like that, you know, the whole, I guess, Achilles can never, was it Achilles? It was some philosophy thing where like, when you're racing a tortoise and you always aim for where the tortoise was, by the time you get there, it's always going to be ahead of that spot. So you can never actually pass them. It's a weird philosophy because obviously if you're trying to do a race of some sort, you always want to aim past, well, okay. You always want to aim past your opponent into the finish, which is determined, non-deterministic. I am spouting out words. But like, the end is already determined in a race. So you know you know where you need to get to, and you can aim to pass your opponent. Whereas if you're trying to catch up, you can never really catch up to anything because by the time you get to where they are, they've moved past that. You get slower and slower as they get slower and slower. Eventually, sure, you can catch up to the point where you're like directly behind them, but like, wow, I'm falling off there a lot. But when it comes down to like, on any sort of like skill base where everyone's constantly practicing, by the time you like reach the skill level of someone else, if they've been practicing just as much as you, you're just never going to be able to catch up. Which is one of those difficult things for me in terms of video game competitions, because I'm sure that like, I won't say I want to join the esports or speedrunning communities, because that's just a lot of added pressure, and I've never been great with competition. But it's one of those things where if I were to learn how to do that, I feel like I would never be able to catch up, sort of thing. Unless I'm starting from day one, in which case you're missing out on the chance for a casual playthrough. That was a lot of words that I just kind of spewed out right there. But yes, that's kind of my ideology on video game competitions. I don't know. So it's one of those things where it's like, with the qualifiers like a month ago at this point, like I wasn't really expecting to win or anything like that, but I felt like I was pretty good. And then I remembered that I don't know a lot of stuff about the game. So it's not exactly simple for me to, you know, actually go ahead and do something like that. Although I will also say that the actual competition itself was really scuff. Because like I was getting kind of annoyed with how it was run, because the way it was run was it was a total of 24 races. Each person had 24 races. And then you would get points depending on what placement you got in. And obviously the more points you got, the higher up on the leaderboard you were. Every 4 races, it would swap around who you're racing, so you're not just racing the same people for 24 races. I, at one point, joined a server. A server? I don't know if that's the right term for it, but like, I joined a group after I was getting swapped for my 4 races. And, I was spectating because the last race wasn't finished yet. And as I was spectating, I noticed there were 3 actual people in the entire race. The rest were CPUs, which means those 3 people were guaranteed first, second, and third place, essentially, because computers were set to normal, which obviously you can see is not very hard to beat. So it's one of those things where those 3 people got points when in reality they could be like 3 of the worst players, and I'm sure they weren't, because I was watching them race and they were actually pretty good and they were whatever. But it was one of the things where, like, if they were the worst of the worst, like, they were guaranteed a lot of points just because they were put up against computers, compared to someone like me who's generally middle of the pack. Like, I would get less points because I'm facing actual people. So I could have lost to someone who was not good at the game and just got faced up against computers the entire time. So the way they actually ran it wasn't really great. So it's one of those things. Like, I won't say that I should have won or anything like that, because I really shouldn't have. Like I said, I was middle of the pack. But the way they ran it, not the sort of way a competition should be ran. I can't believe I didn't get spun out there. I am only half paying attention to the actual race itself. Just, you know, goes to show just like how simple computers are to beat generally. But it's one of those things. Like, I'm kind of over it at this point. Like I said, competitions have never really been my thing. Because I like playing casually and I like just kind of goofing off, having fun, doing whatever. But I think they should have taken some sort of precaution as to how they handled matchmaking. I got screwed over by RNG in the actual races anyway, but that's beside the point. Boo Lake. Also, this was the bike combination that I found works the best for me. In terms of, like, speed, acceleration, like all that sort of stuff. And this is what I ended up using for the actual competition. Now, obviously, it's not the best Kart combo in the game, because that's like a heavyweight with the Mr. Cuddly cart and the roller wheels and stuff like that, or whatever this stuff is called, which I'm obviously not using, but I prefer to use bikes over carts, just because the way they drift for me handles better and it's more what I'm used to. Otherwise, I'd be falling off the course a lot more than I am. So, it's one of those things. I can't believe that actually worked. And nice. Now that was not a smart move of me because that is supposed to be reserved for having a mushroom to get through those bushes easily, but you know, I did it anyway. Rock Mountain. Do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. I don't know. Where did Toadette come from? Yeah. That was not the way I usually go. Nope. I thought I could make it across that. That is going to be a major disadvantage for me. Of course, the moment I get into first. There we go. That was a weird noise. Between bananas. Wow, okay, that worked out a lot better than I was expecting. Man, don't do this to me. Don't. Run it back. What number race was that? That was race 3. I think I'll do this Grand Prix and the Moon Cup, and then I think I'll call it for the day. you know, like I said at the start of stream, it's gonna be a short one. But, you know. Like it says in the title, it's been a long week. On top of that, it's really hot out. So it's being closed up in my room with my PC. Not the best for heat. Hi, Harris. Hope you're doing well today. Ugh. That works, I guess. Oh, right, I can actually set people to VIP now. I actually completely forgot about that. That got completely overshadowed by the fact that, hey, I can actually now have channel points, and I can have viewer interaction, and I can have a lot of other stuff. So once I'm done with this race, oh, here comes Blue Shell. I got inked. Ta-da! Doo-doo. No, 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 no. None of that stuff. How do I VIP someone? This is becoming scuff. Sounds about right. Doo-doo-doo. Turn that on. I don't know what I'm doing. Is there a... There is, okay. Hopefully that works. Yes, okay. Go ahead and say something, Harris. Because I don't know if what I did worked or not. I think it did, but... Can't see. Alright, I'm fine. And blue shell. Don't you dare. Mr. Guy. Hoi hoi Ray. Hope you're doing well. Oh. Well, that's good at least that you're doing better. Yeah. Man. And as well, I don't know why I just stopped talking. As well, I hope that I can help make it a little bit better than currently as well. Why is Donkey Kong being such a bitch right now? That's the thing, I'm not even really gamer focusing at this point. Like, half the time when I'm running these Grand Prix, I'm like subconsciously doing them. Although who knows, maybe my attention was a bit more focused on it and I just don't know. Yay. ADHD things. But yeah, hopefully this stream can help make things a little bit better. I swear, if it happens again. I swear. No. Make it. Oh. For reference, I'm trying to triple start every Grand Prix in this game, which requires first place in all 4 races of every Grand Prix. This is the 3rd race in the cup. And the same thing happened to me last time I played it. Because this is the 2nd time I've played it today. The first time I played it, I got hit with a blue shell at the base of the hill, and then couldn't catch up. Yep. That's kind of my luck, though. That happened a lot of times during the open qualifiers last month. Like, I would always get hit with something, and then get quote-unquote Mario Karted, getting hit with thing after thing after thing, not allowing you to move. So I would go from like 1st or 2nd to like 7th or 8th. Right at the finish line too. It was always really frustrating. Bitch. Do I fully completed? Plus include a couple of wash. Yeah, I'm on the 150 right now, going through the DLC. I have all the 50 and 100cc that are out currently, because I feel like the Direct tomorrow is going to announce the next wave of DLC. Yep, that's exactly it. Like, I had to stop doing it for a while just because it's the same thing over and over again. Especially if you're, like, trying to do them all at once. Hello, Fate. Hope you're doing well today. I am like half distracted from racing and I am struggling. But yeah, hope you're doing well today. There is a banana there. I have one more lap to catch up. Oh no, this is the last race of the cup too. Ugh. Hey. Making tea? Ooh. Very nice, very nice. I'd ask what type of tea, but I honestly couldn't tell you what different types there were. So it wouldn't be that helpful. Like I said. Why me? Why did it... Excuse me? That's 2 races in a row that I was like split second difference between 1st and 2nd. Yeah, Darjeeling. Never heard of that before. Yeah. I'll have to take a watch later and probably clip it or something. In the heat of the moment, I had no clue what I was doing. I was just hoping for something to work. So, for reference for you, Terry, yeah, I'm trying to go through and get triple star on all the Grand Prix. Which, I'm sure you know, means first place all 4 races. So the fact that I had 2 races in a row where I was second up until the, like, last second, like, that is so stressful. Yeah, Maple Raceway. That's one of those ones where, like, it's really hard to tell what's going to happen until it happens because of all the different items and stuff like that. Although on the Wii, I feel like it was a bit different because I feel like they changed it to make it where in the leaves it was all mushroom. Compared to in the Wii where you could have like mushroom, banana, star even. Why are you all of a sudden so good? The fuck? The fuck just happened to me? Didn't want to get hit by any of those shells. There we go. I got lucky there. Get over here. That works too. Go figure. But yeah, I feel like the direct that they announced for tomorrow, they're gonna announce like the next wave of DLC for this game, because it's been a while since they put in Birdo and all of that stuff. So that means more races to try and get 3 stars on. Yeah, that's honestly the one thing, because they're still releasing tracks and stuff like that. When they release new tracks, you have to go back and play them on the older, or on the easier CCs, which means that like when the DLC comes out and they have 8 new courses, if you had done all of the courses already that were out, you have to do the same 8 courses 5 separate times in a row. And it does get really repetitive. What their bombshells can be? Yeah. Honestly, wouldn't surprise me if Tears of the Kingdom DLC comes out, or is announced at least. Like, oh hey, this is in the works. That wouldn't surprise me as much. But I feel like it's still probably a bit too soon for that. You're a bitch. It's gonna be really hard to say, because it's, although it might be a Mario game. It actually wouldn't surprise me if it's a Mario game. Mario Sports Mix. Yeah, I could see that. But just like, it's been a while since we've had a mainstream Mario game come out. Like, the last thing I remember that was actually Mario that got released, that was mainstream Mario, was the 3D All-Stars that came out for the Switch. Which, that was like 2 years ago? I want to say that was 2021. Actually, I think it was June 2021. And then, of course, before that would be, what am I doing? Before that was Odyssey, which I want to say was 2017. So a new mainstream Mario game isn't unlikely. Little League was a huge flop. Yeah. Yeah, that... What the fuck? I don't remember having to go this way for it. Still? Yes, I got him too. I am not happy about that. Yeah, no, I can't really say I've played too many of the Mario sports games. So I wouldn't really be able to say. It wasn't really my type of game, I guess. I say that, but like honestly, it was just yeah, yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Why is Ludwig being such a bitch right now? I don't get it. They heard me talking shit saying that computers were easy to beat. But no, I never played Mario Strikers. I never played Mario Golf. I guess Mario Golf came out. I'm not sure when that came out, but that was kind of Mario Sports. Yeah, honestly, the closest thing that I've gotten that isn't just Wii Sports was Mario and Sonic at the, I want to say 2010 Olympic Games. It was Winter Olympic Games. I think that's the most recent one that I did. Speaking of winter. But yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure what their big bombshell announcement is going to be. Really? They're making a sequel to that? What the fuck? That... Honestly, that felt just like a gimmick game to show off the Switch. I mean, I guess that's what Wii Sports was for the Wii, and that blew up, so... Excuse me? What? I don't know what just happened there. But yeah, honestly, I feel like something they could do that would blow up the internet. That would be really awesome. F-Zero game. I feel like if they made an F-Zero game, that would seriously blow up. Either that or Star Fox, because they haven't had a mainstream Star Fox game in a while. Yeah, I don't see it happening either, but that's something they could do to seriously blow up the internet like they did when Smash was announced. Can't believe I didn't fall off there. Yeah, no, honestly thinking there's no real big news that I could think of. Legend of Zelda movie. Yes. I guess. I mean, that's... Well. Yep. Legend of Zelda movie. Could see it happening. But I feel like they're still too fresh off the high of the Mario movie. Especially with essentially Chris Pratt confirming that there's going to be a sequel. I feel like they would focus more on the sequel than doing an entirely different franchise into a movie. So that's a possibility, but other than that, trying to think of any big. Oh, yeah, Link doesn't really talk, but neither does Mario really. So, you know. Actually, I'm pretty sure Link technically talks more than Mario. Because in Legend of Zelda, you get dialogue choices. Mario doesn't really have that. It's just a bunch of noises from jumping and stuff like that. So if you really think about it, technically, Legend of Zelda has more dialogue than Mario. I mean, obviously, you can take stuff from, like, the animated, like, Super Show and whatever, but, like, generally, I can't think of a mainstream Mario game where Mario actually talks or even has dialogue choices. Though I guess in Breath of the Wild, they gave Link lore as to why he doesn't talk. So it's not just like oh yeah, he doesn't talk because it's not necessary. It's he doesn't talk because there's an actual plot reason for it. Being which he feels like with the important role he has on his shoulders. I don't think there's a dedicated VA. Well, I'm sure there is one. I just don't think it's as well known. But like Charles Martinet doesn't do lines for Mario other than other than like the classic lines of like the "It's a Me" and stuff like that. And honestly, like Zelda, who is the titular character, has a ton of lines in most games. Compared to Mario, where even Peach doesn't really have many lines. Although I think the other reason why Charles Martinet is so well known is, well, one, Mario is the staple of Nintendo. And two, he does, like, every character's voice. Because not only is he Mario, he's also... he's Mario, he's Luigi, he's Waluigi, he's Wario, he's... who else? I don't think he's Bowser, but... Thank you for the stretch and hydration. I think I'm gonna do this one more time and then call it for today. But yeah, actually, you've got me curious now. Sachi Matsumoto, voiced Link and other characters in Wind Waker, Four Swords Adventures, Phantom Hourglass, even Smash Bros. There's also Kengo Takanashi, who voiced Link in Breath of the Wild. Oh, yeah. That's honestly the most likely option. Is another fucking Fire Emblem. Although, I guess also it would be harder with Legend of Zelda because there's not just one Link in Zelda. With Mario, it's the same Mario for everything. But at this point, I think we're on, like, the 6th or 7th iteration of Link. So I guess it would be a bit difficult to convey that in a movie setting. Speaking of Link. Yeah, I was watching a video because I've beaten Tears of the Kingdom at this point. What was I doing there? So I've kind of started looking into it, and like there's a lot going on that feels like they're rewriting the lore in with Tears of the Kingdom, but at the same time not. And so I was watching some videos on it, and there's some theories surrounding it, and there's a way for it all to make sense. But you have to get really convoluted. And just to not spoil anything, I'm not going to go too much into detail about what the theory is. But I don't even know what I'm doing in this game anymore. But essentially, well, Link's Awakening, has a place in the Downfall timeline. So that one isn't up for like placement early on. But the theory is, and that was a waste of a mushroom. What is now my personal headcanon is that the past in Tears of the Kingdom takes place before Skyward Sword. That's very convoluted because, jeez, what is going on right now? If you know anything about Skyward Sword, that goes into the depth of the creation of the world, and like essentially it's the start of the story. Nope, didn't get it. But essentially, what ends up happening is, in Skyward Sword, and this is a, over a 10-year-old game at this point, jeez, you know what? Just for the sake of discussion. In, Skyward Sword, you have Demise. And Demise is the incarnation of I don't remember how they called it, and I don't want to, like, delve too deep into the terminology that's used in Tears of the Kingdom for certain characters. But essentially, you have, the creation story, you have the Triforce, and you have, some evil, trying to take hold of the Triforce. And essentially, you, as Link, defeat Demise, and Demise places a curse that, an incarnation of, Demise's hatred and Link will be in an endless battle. Yeah, the three goddesses, as the creation story. They created, the Triforce, and lots of convoluted stuff. But essentially, Demise places a curse saying, hey, guess what? We're going to be locked in combat for eternity. And that's what creates the reincarnations of Link, Demise, and Zelda. Zelda being the mortal form of the goddess Hylia. It's convoluted, but you know what? We'll go with it. So now you get into, right, that there's nothing before that. How can there be? Because the whole reason that Link and essentially Ganon are in combat is because of this curse that was placed on them by Demise. However, the theory is that the past events, and of course not going into detail in case anyone is going to play it and hasn't started it or heard anything about it, essentially, the events that take place in the past that are prevalent in Tears of the Kingdom take place before Skyward Sword. After the creation story, but before the war for the Triforce. That's the theory, and I like that theory because it gives reasoning that everything can make sense. Now, the phrasing is kind of bad. And they're calling a new event something that was the name of an event later on. Now creating two versions of the same event at two different points in time. Which, granted, it's Zelda. There's time travel involved in a lot of it. But in reality, like, I like that theory. And it also kind of would make Tears of the Kingdom kind of the circular, not time loop, but kind of, it would close off the cycle. Which, the whole theory going into Tears of the Kingdom before we knew anything about the story was that we were going to create a cycle. Because the mantra of Tears of the Kingdom is an Ouroboros, the dragon eating its own tail. Kind of as a, it's commonly used as a symbol for, okay. It's commonly used as a symbol for, like, infinity, immortality. So the idea of a cycle being set up and having an Ouroboros as its symbol, it made sense because it's essentially creating a cycle of endless time. Yeah. I haven't played Xenoblade, so I'm not sure how that is conveyed. But yeah, like, this theory kind of delves into that idea of kind of the cycle that Link, Zelda, and Ganon have been going through for centuries at this point. So I personally like it. And it sets up Tears of the Kingdom as the final game in the timeline. Which, granted, there were a lot of games that were meant to be like that. So it's hard to say. But I personally like it. And that is now my headcanon for it. I am just rambling, and I don't know where I was going with this point, but you know what? Let's go for it. Oh, yeah. So, we were talking about, having a Legend of Zelda movie. I feel like the movie would either have to be a completely separate iteration of Link, completely fresh new story, well, new story as much as the Zelda series gets a new story. It's all the same story over and over again, but told in different ways. Or it would have to solidify something in the timeline. So it's gotta... honestly, if they make a Legend of Zelda movie, it's gonna... for lack of better terms, and I don't know how much any of you know about it, but like, it's gonna rival... yeah, it would. But if they make a movie, it's gonna rival Five Nights at Freddy's for what is canon, what isn't. Is this movie a canon story? Is it a completely separate reality where it doesn't have implications in the timeline? Or is it something directly in the timeline? Is it the retelling of events in a way where it clarifies something in the time? There's gonna be a lot of that if they do that. So the lore is absolutely like wild if you want to try and get into creating some sort of film aspect for it, because in games there's a lot left up to interpretation, because games are set up for the players to figure out what's going on and do their own thing, and movies aren't, and film especially, a majority of films, and I say a majority because there are some films that are different, a majority of films are set to tell a coherent story, beginning, middle, end, maybe opening up a possibility for a sequel, but there's nothing long running most of the time. So it's really difficult to say whether they would even do that. Although if they're trying to set up a Nintendo Cinematic Universe, they're gonna need to, because Zelda is one of the 3 biggest franchises that Nintendo has that is purely Nintendo. Because you get stuff like Kirby, which is HAL Laboratories, and you get Pokemon, which is Game Freak. But you have Mario, Zelda, and what was the last one? I'm completely blanking. Something. I don't know. Last Metroid. Thank you. Last Zelda I played was Triforce. Yeah. Fun fact. Triforce Heroes was actually the game that got me into the Zelda series. Like, into it. I had played Zelda games prior, but I was never really into it. Until I played Triforce Heroes. Because I had played, that was the wrong button. I had played, Ocarina of Time 3D. I had also played, Link Between Worlds was the big one before that. But I had never played a Zelda game other than those. And one of my friends on a field trip one day, for reference, I never had like a GameCube or N64 or any of that stuff. My earliest console is a Wii. My earliest handheld was the DS Lite. Kind of showing how young I am in that, but that's beside the point. But yeah, Between Worlds is the first Zelda game that I actually have a memory of playing. Game Boy, yeah. I've played on a Game Boy before. But that was a long time after, when like my aunt was pulling out all of the old consoles that their family had. But essentially, Between Worlds was the first one I have a memory of playing. I got stuck in that at one point and just never finished it because I was young and dumb and also wasn't looking up guides. So I just kind of stopped playing that. Ocarina of Time 3D. Okay. Ocarina of Time 3D. I got massively stuck because I didn't know where to go. And then I looked up a guide and then got lost in the guide and then stopped playing. So I haven't finished that either. Then one of my friends on a field trip brought Triforce Heroes. And I played that with them, and I loved it, and so I got it myself, and ended up playing through it, and I beat that game. Then I ended up getting Twilight Princess. The Skulltulas flared my arachnophobia to a humongous extent, so I never finished the first dungeon. So I haven't finished that one. I then got Breath of the Wild. Not when it came out, because it wasn't on my list of priority games to get. I am hard gamer focusing on this one right now. Because this is the last race and I don't want to lose it last second. Okay. So, I got Breath of the Wild. I beat that. I beat the final boss fight like 3 or 4 times at this point. And then, I got Skyward Sword HD when it came out on the Switch. Played through that. Absolutely loved that. Skulltulas still messed with my head, but I used guides for those, so I knew when to expect them, at least. But for the most part, I didn't use guides. And then Tears of the Kingdom, I went to the midnight release of, and lost a cosplay contest to, a kid in a store-bought costume. I also grew up on the GameCube, nothing. I also have some more obscure ones that Billy made. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I played some obscure games, but generally the first game I ever actually remember playing, other than Wii Sports, was New Super Mario Bros. For the Wii. That's the earliest game I remember playing. Aside from that, also thank you. Aside from that, obscure games, I'm trying to think. I think the biggest obscure game I got was, I had an Ice Age game for the DS. Yeah, that's something. But anyway, with that, oh, open season, yeah. Yeah, I think I'm honestly trying to remember some of the early games that I have, but I honestly, like, my brain is kind of, missing at this point in time, so I'm not remembering a lot of stuff. But yeah, I'm excited for, the Direct tomorrow. Like I said, I'm going to, assume that they're gonna announce the next wave of DLC for MK8DX. They're probably also going to they're probably going to talk about the Mario movie. The one that was already released, or a sequel. They're probably going to talk to it about it, at least mention it. Pokemon Sleep as well. That's supposed to be coming out shortly. I know Pikmin 4 was in the announcement. Yeah, of course. Zelda lore is actually one of the few lores of video games that I actually enjoy learning about. I actually have the Zelda encyclopedia behind me in my room. That's generally how I know so much. Is because I like convoluted timelines. Because when you're trying to piece together stuff into a timeline, it becomes a puzzle, I guess. And, you know, as any Zelda fan, I love puzzles sometimes, most of the time, sort of, as long as they don't get frustrating and go into, like, heavily obscure, like, math sort of things. But I like piecing together lore and stuff like that, and, there's a lot I could talk about, specifically with Tears of the Kingdom, but that is still such a fresh game. It's been out for a month. I don't think people are ready to have open conversation on the wider public internet about the game without going into too much detail because of spoilers. Because I know a couple of my friends still haven't finished the game. So I don't want to go into too much detail. Yeah. Of course I wouldn't mind talking about it. Just like I said, I watched a video on a theory about like kind of the greater story within Tears of the Kingdom and how it relates to earlier on in the timeline. But I'm going to save that for another time because I am going to end off stream here. Great segue, I know. So, if you have anyone that you would like me to raid, actually, I think I have someone, so don't answer that. I will see you Thursday. Haven't quite decided. Well, hopefully, see you Thursday, I should say. Yeah. I haven't decided what I'm gonna do yet. I might go ahead and do some shrine hunting in Tears of the Kingdom. Because that is... My eyes are glitching out. Essentially, since I've beaten the story and all that sort of stuff, I have most of the, like, main quests and stuff. I have all the main quests and stuff done. It's just... I've been going through and trying to get all the shrines because I know you get an outfit piece when you get all the shrines and it actually looks really cool and I want it. Yeah. It's gonna be same time as today, 1:30 EST. I do think I'm gonna stick with Twitch for that. Because I posted on Twitter, which, if you aren't following me, on Twitter, which is, it's understandable because, I have a lot of not, happy tweets. I'll leave it at that, without going into detail. Yeah, that's fair. I'll post that anyway for other stuff, and you can, that's where I'll post a lot of big updates with like links and stuff like that, and also when I release music and when I decide to release a story or whatever, which I am working on stuff, including I am working on my own character design rather than using a pre-existing one and editing it. But I posted a poll. Yep. Yep. I have a summary laid out for my character's lore entirely. I just, it's a summary. A very scuffed one at that. I am working on turning it into a full-fledged short story written like a novel. That on top of working on character design, like I mentioned, as well as creating an album to go with that story. Lots of work being done behind the scenes all at once. So can be excited for that. I will talk more about that on stream when I get closer to finishing it. Yeah, it's been a long week, so I haven't been very active in doing it, but it's something that I am working on getting done. I may be a bit too, what's the word, ambitious with all of this stuff, probably. I mean, trying to make an album on top of writing a story, on top of also streaming and doing character design. There's so much happening all at once that it is getting a bit overwhelming, and as in the title, it has been a long week for me. For various reasons. But yeah, however, dreaming too big can also be a disadvantage, because if you dream too big, you never get anything completed. Or, you know, you get it completed, but it turns out not as great as you would hope. That's why I'm taking my time on it. I'm not in a rush to get any of it out there. Frankly, I'm not in a position to like commission anyone for character art stuff, because I am frankly not as much of an artist as I would like to think I am. But I do have character design concepts and stuff like that I like. And I'm not bad, so I can still convey thought in art. But for something like, you know, a VTuber model or a background design, you know, I'm not nearly good enough for any of that sort of stuff. But I'm going to talk more about that at a later date, and the process of it and all that sort of stuff, because I am enjoying the process of character design and story writing and music and all that sort of stuff. But it's way too much to talk about right now, and I don't have enough information to talk about it right now, because I am not close enough to being done with it to talk about it for too long, without giving stuff away, of course. But yeah, I'm going to call it. It's been an hour and a half. So on that note, I hope you all have a wonderful time zone, and yeah, make sure you take care of yourself, drink some water, get some rest, all that good stuff, and I will see you next time. Bye.